Alright folks, so I'm going to try and show you guys really quick how to go about creating the notes file from Pastor's notes when he sends them over to us during the services. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to minimize a couple of these windows here. First thing we're going to do is go into the PowerPoint shortcut here on the desktop. And once we open that up, there we'll see where uh, the individual notes files are for each particular service. So I already went and took the liberty, of opening one of them up, and we're going to take a look at how to convert this file into what we actually will use later on for the website. And it's a fairly simple process. There's a lot of copy and pasting and a little bit of reformatting, but it should be fairly quick. So once I have that file open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up top, I'm going to select File, and then Recent. And what we're going to do is, depending on whether or not this was a sermon or a Bible study that we're doing notes for, we're going to open the appropriate template. And then once that's open, then we're going to save as. We're going to go back to File and then Save As. And we're going to save it as whatever that day's date is. So I'm just making a dummy file here. So today is the 1st of November. So it's going to be 11 1 16 we'll call it PM, or I'm sorry, we'll call it AM because it was a sermon. Okay. And dash whatever dash title for today. Okay, so we have our title, and we do it this way because it's a lot easier for the files to be downloaded if they have the hyphens in the middle of them. The the way that it's going to translate over into how it appears on the website later on, you'll see. So we'll just go ahead and save that, and then our title is changed up here. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to come back down and we'll select pastor's notes here. So the main scriptural text is the first thing that we're going to copy here. So from from the last piece of punctuation back all the way to right before the actual listing of the first scripture reference, we're going to copy this. So I highlighted it here. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to select copy. Then I'm going to come back over to our new file. And then just like the instructions say here, we're going to highlight this paragraph. Okay. Then we'll right click and we're going to select this this A clipboard that allows us to keep only the text and it won't paste in any of the formatting for it. All right, so we did that, and our verses are Colossians verse 3 starting at Colossians chapter 3 starting at verse 1. And there's actually two different versions of this. Looks like one of them is going to be either King James or New King James, just by doing a quick read of the top. And then the bottom one here is more than likely going to be the New Living Translation. So since he has two different versions of it, we're going to include both in the main scriptural reference. But what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this out. So we're going to go all the way back here, leave a single space. That's good. Okay. Then we're going to come down to the first open line here. We're going to use this symbol here. It's called a tilde. This little squiggly line. Do a single space, and then we're going to spell the whole thing out here. Chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Okay, now, once we have this here, what we're going to do is we're going to place this on the right hand side by clicking this button here, and then we're also going to note that this is the New King James Version, and I'm going to copy and paste this since we're using the same scriptural text, but just a different version. Right click and copy, and then I'm going to select this here, and we'll go ahead and paste that in, and we'll change that to NLT. All right, now we're going to do the same thing that we did up top here. We're going to take out the call 3:1, and then we're going to take out the call 3 colon, bring them all the way back. And the last thing we're going to do with these is we're going to make sure that these get superscripted. So we'll highlight the verse numbers, and then we'll come up top where you have the X with the squared symbol almost. And then once we click it, it'll make the smaller number 2 here, and we'll drop down and we'll do the same thing here. Okay, so we've got our main text. Now we're going to go for all the supporting verses. So we'll go back to the original, and then we see sort of the same thing. So in this particular one, we have 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 17, and it's in the New King James or the King James, as well as the New Living. So we're going to actually copy and paste both. Right click and copy. We're going to come back to ours here, and right from that period moving back, right click, we're going to go ahead and paste it just as is. Now we're going to cut this out and insert our tilde, paste it in, make sure we fully spell this out. 1 John chapter 2 verse 15 through 17, and we'll go New King James Version. Now we want to make sure that any of the scriptural references that we have, we want to make sure that they are bolded. So if we highlight them and then have this little menu come up here, we can just select the B there and it'll bold. Then the other thing that we want to do is make sure that we, again, align that to the right hand side. And now we'll take the rest of these out. And do the superscript. Do that, and one more time. Superscript. We're good. Now in order to get rid of the green squiggly lines there, here we go. Just take one single space out, or two, or however many are in there. And then you've got your text. Alright, so we're going to copy this. And then we're going to use this down here where we already have the Galatians. Paste it. Bold it. change this to NLT, and come back. We'll do the same thing. Take this out, take a single space out, remove the John chapter 2 part, bring that back, leave a single space, same thing, and we'll superscript this one and this one. We're good there. We'll go back to Pastor's original text and grab the last copy here from Romans 8:6. Right click, copy, come back over, and then we'll get a new line here, and we'll paste that in. Oh, no, that's not going to work for us. Okay, so this is what happens when you just do a regular copy and paste. It tries to take the original formatting from the other page, and this is why when we do this, we go through and we actually right click and select that A clipboard to keep the text only. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo what I just did, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to select keep text only. Now we got to clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to align that text to the left. I'm going to cut this portion here with the scripture, and then unbold this by highlighting and then selecting the B. We're good there. We're going to go to a new line here. If I can. There we go. And then we're going to paste, insert the tilde. Okay, that's good. We'll bold this by doing Control B, or you can also do that number there where you right click and then select the B. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that that gets aligned on the right side. Okay, so as you see, it's pretty much just copy and paste and making sure that all your scriptural verse references are bolded and justified to the right. All of the rest of the text is going to be justified to the left, with the exception of maybe any headlines that may be put into the notes that pastor wants to make note of. But you'll know those when you see them. But for the most part, that's what we got. Last thing we need to do is just go ahead and make sure that we save it. And we're going to save it in two different formats. If we just go up here to the little floppy disk thing, we're going to go ahead and click save, or I could have went to the file and then just did save here. So this saves it as a Word document. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to save it as a PDF file. So being that we have the title for it entered already, that's fine. But we're going to change the save as type here to PDF, and then just click save. It'll go ahead and make a copy of that. And then if we go into the Dropbox folder, we'll see both of those files in here now as newly created files, here and here. All right, so that's the process. Again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.